Hey everyone, I hope you're doing well and staying safe during this time. If you're new here, welcome to the channel. Like I said, thank you so much for checking me out. If you haven't done so, please make sure to hit that subscribe button just right below the video. Cool, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. And if you're returning, welcome back. Thanks again for your support. I truly do appreciate having you here.
$20 a pop, you can buy a security, actual security of the artwork and have a position in that art. I absolutely love it. I'm excited about it. Swiss city of Laguna is excited to make Bitcoin a legal tender after Mexico and El Salvador will be making use of Bitcoin, Tether, and Swiss franc stablecoin to facilitate payments across services. You know, I do believe, and I've said it before, I'm going to say it again very quickly. I'm not going to get my needle stuck on it. This whole Bitcoin legal tender business is not over by a long shot. Write it down. If I got to make a video, take it back, I certainly will. I think that's a problem that's not going to remain much longer. We'll see. I'm not saying Bitcoin goes away. I'm just saying the legal tender business is going to be an issue going forward. I can feel it in my bones. Right here, China's yuan payment settlement system, which has 75 direct participants, including Citibank, HSBC, Deutsche Bank, and 1,200 indirect participants. Any entity dealing with Russia-linked businesses could be subject to sanctions. Yeah, let's get those in place and get Russia the hell out of Ukraine. Let's do that. The UK financial watchdog is pursuing 50 investigations into cryptocurrency businesses, operators, which also include criminal probes. Look, the crackdown is on. It's not just the sanctions. It's also about this new emerging asset class. Let's understand that, right? Let's understand this. SEC is considering crypto recommendations for its custody rule. Yeah, and it doesn't go into it with any kind of real, definition and details, heavy details. But look, I think just to understand this, in the conventional markets, the same entity that you buy the share from does not custody the share, right? That's the deal. There is 3 degrees of separation. Parent company could own all of it, but the individual companies are split apart. I think that's healthy, okay? And I think that to have that in crypto is healthy too. Just as much as I believe that you should be able to own your own crypto and hold it cold storage if you want. You could be the person in charge of not losing your keys and your safe words, right? Like I am too. I hold some too, and I love it. But here we have Stephen Hubert, who shows us what is coming up that we need to pay attention to in the SEC versus Ripple. Now, I want to remind you very quickly of the interview from yesterday, Brad Garlinghouse on Fox, at the very tail end, said not one time of all the times they went and had meetings and discussions with the SEC was he or anyone from Ripple told that XRP was a security. So while we're waiting for these rulings to come in on the motion to strike the fair notice defense, it may work out good for Ripple for that, because of that key fact right there. Release of the Estabrook notes, if we get them, and reconsideration of DPP on the Hinman emails, which I personally believe we probably are never going to see, but I hope that we do. Let's get into this, because there's more drama around the space, and it's not just at Ripple's doorstep anymore over XRP. We know, and we have uncovered for a very long time now, that the improprieties and the improper things we've seen and found and uncovered with Ethereum and Consensus and Joseph Lubin and so on and so on. And here we see Joseph Lubin's Consensus lawsuit because the majority shareholders are now suing them and demanding under Swiss law a public audit, which I have been calling for quite some time. And before we get out of here today, I'm going to call for another public audit. JPM owns critical Ethereum infrastructure, says the article here. We get into this. Santiago Velez shared the article. And we know that it's been in question. The majority shareholders are pointing out that they see the improprieties and they see the irregularities in Joseph Lubin and Consensus's actions. I ask, how much Ethereum infrastructure does JP Morgan own? More importantly, how come the SEC has never bothered to answer to the question to begin with? You know, this destroys the decentralized argument, just like the video and audio that we've played of Joseph Lubin explaining to investors in Wales how you can disguise your identity and your accounts. Because the notion is, if a small group of investors disguised their accounts and made multiple fake accounts, as he explained that you could do, it would really suggest that there was a small number of investors who made multiple accounts to make it look like that it was a crowd-funded, decentralized network and crowdsourced ICO. But it doesn't appear that that's the case. This article goes on to show essentially that Ethereum is a Trojan horse for tyranny, as Brad Mills shared here. Consensus owns Infura, MetaMask, JP Morgan, UBS, MasterCard own Consensus. 99% of EVM transactions go through Consensus. DeFi is captured by VCs and banks. Only Bitcoin is government resistant. Ethereum is not even insider resistant. So look, the point here for me is this. It's not decentralized. And that has been the big point about a lot of this for all of us making this. And if it's not decentralized, then we have to start asking ourselves about these associations that are out here. The Digital Chamber of Commerce, Perry Ann Boring. You know, I played this clip. I'm going to play it for you again right now. Listen to this and we'll get into this.
Mr. Bankman-Fried, if you go by market cap, the vast majority are commodities. Bitcoin and Ether today compose over 60% of the market capitalization of the entire digital asset ecosystem, and they've been defined as a commodity by the CFTC today. There's other categories. We kind of talked about categories of digital assets. Another one is intentional digital asset securities. One is intentional digital asset securities. Bankman-Fried, if you go by market cap, the vast majority are commodities. Bitcoin and Ether today compose over 60% of the market capitalization of the entire digital asset ecosystem, and they've been defined as a commodity by the CFTC today. There's other categories. We kind of talked about categories of digital assets.
And then it repeats, and she goes into obviously saying digital asset securities. So the question is here, it's like, now these associations, the Digital Chamber of Commerce, the Blockchain Association, they're supposed to be industry representatives, right? Representing the entire industry. It appears, even in this clip, the only two that she's looking to really look out for here are Bitcoin and Ethereum. Am I wrong, Perry Ann? Please tell me I'm wrong. And in fact, why don't we really tell the world how wrong I am? Why don't we have a public audit of the Digital Chamber of Commerce and the Blockchain Association? Because here's another little gem here. Back in November, if you remember, Jake Chervinsky was taking shots when John Deaton was filing for his status in the case, if you remember that. My comment was directed to the idea of suing a federal agency with sovereign immunity and to the writ filed in January, which I thought was not well done. But I was disrespectful to a fellow member of the bar and dismissive of John's and others' valid concerns. For that, I am sorry. Well, you know what, Jake? Why don't you tell us all why you haven't come to the assistance of John Deaton, who, by the way, is fighting a case for 65,000 XRP holders because the complaint suggests that every crypto can be securities, according to the SEC. What is it you know, Jake, Perry Ann, that it keeps Bitcoin and Ethereum out of the fray? And somehow, the rest of the space, Cardano, XRP, so on and so on and so on, apparently they don't matter. They don't register. So maybe we need to start taking a look for a public audit of these associations, because I'm pretty sure they're probably getting a nonprofit designation while they're representing what appears to be two of the tokens out of a space of 11,000. Jeremy Hogan here says, I was meeting with Chairman Clayton. He's quoting Brad Garlinghouse here on the interview from yesterday. I met with the SEC commissioners. No one ever once said XRP is a security. Brad Garlinghouse. And the lawyer Jeremy Hogan says, that's pretty powerful testimony, no? It sure is. And when we think about the case being over this year, we've heard from Jeremy Hogan, we've heard from John Deaton, we've heard from many, many others. Shout out to Attorney Seal. This case ends this year by most legal analysts' standpoint and what they're seeing, their analysis. So, understanding that this case could end this year, we're always curious, how fast will XRP take off? What are the factors that could make it take off? This gentleman here, I just came across today. Let's Go Financial is his channel. Let's give him a subscribe. I'm giving him a subscribe. This guy does a great job of breaking down in a very practical way, laying out how he sees it, how XRP could go from $72 to $12,000. I'm not going to give you the whole video, but you should watch the whole video and give the gentleman a subscribe. I'm going to bring us in at the 10-minute mark, and I'm going to let him tell you about some of the background of how you could arrive at these things. Let me get it set up for us here. 1 second. Here we go. have been working with institutional banks to provide a solution to the expensive and high error-prone legacy payment systems. XRP has primarily been designed for institutional adoption and use. So the question is, how much of the $6.8 trillion daily global transaction volumes will XRP be used to transact? Well, here on Investopedia, it gives us a clue. It says here, institutional investors account for more than 85% of the volume of trades on the New York Stock Exchange. And according to Morgan Stanley, retail traders account for about 10% of the US stock trading volumes. So let's then arbitrarily say that 85% of all transactions that take place on a daily basis will be handled through the institutional side, and about 15% will be done through the retail side. That means that out of the $6.8 trillion global daily transaction volumes, we can expect XRP to eventually cover $5.8 trillion of that. And the other remaining $1 trillion we can expect to be shared amongst the other ISO-compliant cryptocurrencies.
So he gives a nice laydown of the daily payment flows and talking about what's happening, how much of it comes from institutional, how much comes from retail. Let me skip up now to where he picks up from here. So let me grab it right from here. And what he's going to do is give you some different scenarios here of how you could see a different price based on different valuations and different variables. Take a listen. I love the way this guy breaks this down, by the way. Check it out.
If XRP is to facilitate the $5.8 trillion a day in transaction volume, it would be fair to say that before that day commenced, the value of the entire 80 billion XRP available to facilitate that transaction will also need to be equal to 5.8 trillion. This means that each XRP needs to be worth $72.50 as a baseline. We get that value by taking the $5.8 trillion, dividing it by our 80 billion XRP that are available, and that's the number that we get. But it doesn't end there. Ask yourself, if you're a business that does not utilize this technology, will you be able to remain in business? Probably not. Why can we say that? Well, as a business, you'll not be able to match your competition on price if your competition uses the technology, as XRP saves you heaps of money in not having to pre-fund Nostro-Vostro accounts with other banks when transacting with foreign countries. That's a direct saving to your bottom line. Also, customers will move to where the user experience is better. You simply cannot be instant payments 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's the user experience that I would choose. So how much is an asset like XRP worth when your business can't really afford to do without it? Well, when it comes to stocks, they can easily trade at 30 times their annual earnings. That means that the stock price is actually worth 30 times the actual earnings that that company made for the year. If we apply that principle to XRP, then XRP would trade at a minimum of $2,175. What's more,
I don't have a problem with that, do you?
is that companies' stock prices can trade at ridiculous levels of exuberance. For example, have a look at Tesla. That's what we've got on the screen here. Look at its current PE ratio. It is currently trading at 167 times its annual earnings. Now, why anybody would pay that for Tesla is beyond me, but that's the point. These things can and do happen. If XRP was to trade at 167 times its minimum required valuation, it would be valued at an exorbitant $12,107.
Now that's pretty remarkable. Now this next section, he goes through here and uses the calculator developed from Susan Athey and Robert Mitchnick from Stanford Graduate Business School. Like I said, formerly of Ripple, Susan Athey still a board of director on Ripple, and puts in and plugs in these numbers here. I'm going to leave it there, but I want to shout out and tell you again, give this guy a follow. Let's Go Financial here. Love what this guy has done and how he breaks it down just so straight ahead, so forward, and gives a couple different ideas of it. You know, none of us know what is going to happen. I know what I believe. And I certainly am here in this space for 4 and 5 digit XRP.
I'm your guy. I will keep you posted. I'm your advocate. I'll be back on a daily basis, usually multiple times per day, with these videos to keep you updated with everything going on. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you haven't done so, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Feel free to share any of my videos with your friends, family, social media, or anybody who may care to listen. Thanks so much for your continued support. I'm always here for you. I want to help you through this time. So thank you so much for continuing to choose me. Enjoy your day, stay safe, and I'll catch you again probably in a couple hours. Thanks, everybody. See you later.